Are we live? I think we're live. Well, let's kick it off with a little opening loop. Here we go. Grab your headphones and earbuds. All right. Enough of that. Started the song again. What do you think? That is Carrie Ann by the Hollies. I love that song, and always just thought it was fun. So I don't ever use backing tracks for these. Any of my opening jams on all my live streams, I do fully custom built here with my Boss RC505 looper down there. Although that's not really the looper we're going to talk heavily about tonight. I wanted to go deeper into the Fender Mustang GTX 7 foot switch over there on the left. And so we'll do that in a minute. So let's talk about tonight's opening lineup here. Let me get a little sip of water here. If you didn't already, whether you're watching this live or replay, grab a... or leave a comment from where you're watching from. You know, what city, state, or country, or all three. So you can see the first thing up there is this Facebook shout out. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little camera over here. I want to show my screen here. Yeah, share screen. I want to give a shout out to this Facebook group here. My friend Pat runs a Facebook group over at, let me see if I got it right here. I think I do. There we go. It's coming. It's the Fender GTX 50, GTX 100 amps Facebook group at 800 people strong. And I want to give a little shout out to them. I waited too long in the last Fender Friday live to do that, but it's a great group of people. They got a bunch of good comments and stuff. There's a little thing of the live stream you're on right now. All sorts of good questions and answers. So if you're looking for any GTX community and place to hang out, it's a great place to go right there. Anyway, good group of people. So here's what else we're going to cover. I'm going to do, and in case you missed it, show a little video I did yesterday, or just mention it real quickly. We'll do some viewer questions. I've got some questions in the comments here on that Facebook group and elsewhere, so that'll be pretty cool. I'm going to talk about my tones on the cloud. I'll just show them off on the Fender app in a minute. And then some Fender news, a couple questions for people. And then we're going to go a deep dive into that looper again. I have a little setup here, turn that off, little 4-camera setup here. So I got my Fender Jazzmaster guitar and a Novation keyboard that I'm rocking, a couple other guitars around here. And I'm running it through a Fender Mustang GTX 50 amp. So that loop, again, was the Hollies, and I love that song. It's a lot of fun. I got it all set up here on my 4-track, on my looper. Got some reverb back. There we go. If I turn it all down, check this out. I can bring it back in. So I can bring in all the different levels, and it's really sweet, a lot of fun. So one of the things I wanted to show you real quickly, let me hop back over to my iPad view here. This is live, so I'm sort of continuing to figure some things out as I go. But over here on my channel, let me see if I can zoom in. That one right there, that you already know how to play cello and guitar. I did a little loop. I did a little loop the other day that showed how you can use a keyboard like this, or even your finger on an iPad or a phone to play cello. So let me see if I got this loop going here. Ready? So I put down a little loop with my. Let me see if I can get out of the way. That's my Taylor GX Mini guitar, GS Mini. And that's a tone for the Fender GTX amps that I made called Acoustic Hall. Got a little extra reverb on it. And I brought in these cellos. Ready? So that's a really cool little way to add a cello or another virtual instrument into your mix there. And it's over here on my channel. So in case you missed it, it's that first video from yesterday. You already know how to play cello and guitar, and I explain how to do it with just one finger like that. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we're going to do a couple viewer questions. I'm going to do my best to answer them. I've always felt like I'm not the biggest expert in the world on much, if anything. I wouldn't call myself an expert on anything, but I've learned a few things. I know a lot about looping and pedals and stuff like that, so I'll try to dive in. But one of the questions I got this week, and I would love for viewers here, if you got anything else, put them in the chat. One of the questions I got was single coil pickups versus humbuckers for the tones. I right now play all single coils. I got this Jazzmaster, although it has a in series position that lets me run it like a humbucker, but I've got a Stratocaster, I've had a Telecaster before. Earlier this year I had a Charvel Sandemus with a pair of Seymour Duncan humbuckers. It was really sweet. And anyway, all my tones, I build them for my own ears, and either using the amp in the room, filling the room, or running headphones or some sort of output. So I dial things in for my taste and my liking and my guitar. Somebody made a comment that they like my hard rock tone. That's good for AC/DC, but they had to, dial it in for humbuckers. So their question was, it wasn't really a question. This is just more of a comment, but I thought I'd point out that, yeah, whether it's my tone or anybody else's, you got to make it fit your guitar. And if you're playing, an AC/DC lick that somebody made for a humbucker, you're going to need to just sort of, tweak some things, ramp up a little treble, maybe to make a humbucker a little bit brighter, or to bring some of my tones down a little bit. You got to, you know, sometimes my stuff's pretty bright and I got a lot of stereo going on. Another question was cabinets versus amp. What's the difference between a cabinet and an amp? I'm going to explain this the best I can, but again, I'd love it if anybody, you know, can chime in. I put it this way, that an amplifier, a combo amplifier, has the tones built in, or the tone machine, plus the speaker. So you've got, you know, all the knobs, you know, from EQ and volume and drive and all that kind of stuff. If you got a more modern amplifier, you got, you know, some built-in effects and things like that. And you run it out to either a cabinet, which is a separate speaker, or into the amplifier itself. If it's a combo amp, you got all that stuff built in as like the head of your amplifier, the top of your amplifier, with all the, you know, chips and power and everything like that. And it sends the sound to the speaker, which is in the same box. That's why they call it a combo amp. It's a combination. If you have a amplifier head, it's just a head. There's typically, almost in all of them, no speaker at all. And so you've got all the tone making power and EQing kind of stuff, yet there's no sound coming out of it. So you need to run a pair of outputs out to cabinets. And back to the Mustang GTX, what's cool is you can, you know, basically grab a Fender Twin as your amplifier, but then run it out to a Fender Bassman as your cabinet. So in other words, you're simulating using a twin head to a Bassman cabinet, or a Bassman head out to a bass breaker cabinet. So it's a great way to sort of mix and match. I've got a video on that shows off all the cabinets like that. So anyway, it's good. I personally have never really used a head in cabinets. It's just too much, too big, too much stuff. So as far as another question was the Fender Tone, can you delete tones that you put up into the Fender cloud? And the answer is no. I think it's a bit crazy that Fender doesn't let you do that. I have put a bunch of tones up there, and at first I made a mistake, and I realized you can't delete it. You can't edit it. So if you put 5 tones up there and you mess up, you're in trouble. You can, there's no way to delete it. So you basically have to try to put another one up there. So if you keep making mistakes or decide you want to improve it, you could have, like, you know, 5 Santana kind of tones up in the Fender cloud, and they're just sitting there forever, you know, wasting away while your last one was the best, and then people don't know which one's the best. So I don't love that. I wish they'd create a way for it to edit and delete. Let me show you while we're on that. I'm going to hop over here. Let me go to the Fender Tone app. So I have got all my tones. This is a look at my tones right there. You can see I've got, basically what I did is I deleted all the factory presets. See all those empties over there on the left? I deleted all those and decided that I wanted my own. So Clean Dream is my main one, my basic one. My Bluetooth's off, that's why it's not connecting. I got an acoustic one, I got a bass guitar, and I got some other stuff. That delay drive, number 5, I got to upload that to the cloud. I said I would. It's a tone that I used on that U2 intro video last week, where it's a really driving hard lead with the stereo delay, sort of like a dotted 8th kind of delay. But I got all my tones right there. But if you go over here to download, I'll see if I get this. Yep, it's working. Hang on, let me search. If I can type it right, I'm typing Steve Guitar. Let me try all one word first. Yep, there you go. Atmospheric by Steve Guitar. It's got about 5,000 downloads. Acoustic Coffee by Steve Guitar, Acoustic Hall. So there's all my tones there. And you can download them. And again, tweak them to your liking, tweak them to whatever sounds good to you, and see what you think. And hopefully it'll be a good thing for you. So I got a bunch of stuff, rockabilly, clean, crunch, you know, I got some, I think if I keep going, I got yeah, bass simulator, and I have a acoustic simulator too. So all sorts of stuff. But again, you can't really delete them unless you can figure out a way to get Fender to do it. So come on, Fender, let us delete and edit some old presets. All right, next, one more question, one more user question. Somebody, again, it was more of a comment, but I thought I'd let you know that you cannot upload a Fender. I'm sorry. Their comment was, can you make the GTX stereo? Or they wish that it was stereo because they're used to having stereo amps with dual speakers or a big wide setup. And I said the way I do it, which again is, let me flip over here, I'll show you. I got preset number 1, and if I just hit my tone here, let me go back to this pickup. So this is my Jazzmaster and my clean dream tone down there. And if I turn on this knob right here, again, if you got earbuds or headphones in, that shows right there, this is a Mustang amp with a Mustang tone, and I added a stereo reverb. And it's really great because I run the headphones out or the line outs back into my looper setup and all that, which I've got going here to YouTube, or you can run it out to powered speakers. So the answer to the question is, can you have a stereo setup? The answer is yes. It's awesome with the GTX. That's how I love it. All right, so those are some user questions. Let's take another look too. I've already showed, I went out of order, my tones on the Fender Cloud, and I thought I'd show a little Fender news here. Let me come over here. I thought this was interesting. So if you come over to Fender's site, and I'm sort of checking out their latest news, and one of the things they got here is Fender Lego Star Wars. Fender Lego X. They have a Star Wars thing, but this is, check out this, for the low price of $100 US. There we go. I zoomed in too far. They have a Lego set here where you can build your own Stratocaster. So let me zoom into that. Looks like I got a tap to zoom. There you go. So I just thought this was interesting. You can build your own Fender guitar setup with Legos. So whether it's you geeking out or your kid or whatever, that's from Fender. And looks like they've teamed up with Lego, and maybe they got more. My guess is if we know Fender, that's the first of a bunch of stuff. That's the Strat, and they'll do the Telly and all that. So other than that, let me go back to their homepage and see. I didn't see any other big news today. The Meteora, I wouldn't mind having one of those. Put in the comments if you'd like to get a Meteora in your hands, and then just the usual stuff that they're promoting, Mod Shop and all that. But I think the Meteoras are pretty cool. I obviously have an offset in my hands right now, and I love it. But these are a bit wackier and harder driving, with the big humbuckers and crazy colors. So maybe I'll do it. All right, so it's time to get into my looper demo here. Looper tips and tricks from the GTX 7-foot switch. Also in the comments, in addition, tell me where you're from and where you're at, where you're watching this. Tell me what kind of guitar you got, or kind of amp, what kind of setup. Be interested to know whether it's something awesome or lame. Now, I'm sure it's awesome, but if you got Fender stuff particularly, let me know. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a little looper demonstration and give some tips and tricks. So give me a second to get set up here. So I've turned off the, this is my clean dream tone. And again, over here, I'm using this right now. I'm in the effects mode over there, which means I've got 5 effects here. I could turn on the middle one, turn on a little tremolo action. But right now I have a very light chorus and a pretty good hall reverb. Pretty, not a super long hall reverb, but it's good. I'm gonna go to that 4 camera view for a second. And so what the GTX 7 is great for is, again, I demonstrated last week how I use it as a stomp box and a preset switcher. So it's like my multi-effects. So I've got preset number 1, that's what we're in. I could switch over to 2, my acoustic, or 3, my bass, or 4 and 5, some crunch and harder stuff. But I've got my clean dream tone. And if I go from the presets thing, if I click that button in the top right and go to the effects mode right there, again, now it's my stomp box. I've got my 5 effects. I could turn on, I showed you the tremolo in the middle. I could turn on that stereo delay on the right. But I'm going to turn it back off. And I'm going to turn it back off because I'm going to show you the looper. So if I click that button one more time on the right, I'm in the looper mode. And now these 5 buttons go from being record, dub, play, stop, and undo. And so let me explain a couple things here. Here's some, I've got more tips than this, but when it comes to the looper, you know, these are just some things that I've learned along the way, some mistakes I've made on how to maximize your looping sessions. I love looping. You can tell I love simple looping and mega looping, like the Boss kind of stuff, but there's, you know, something great about a simple looper. So the first thing I would say, well, I'll tell you all of them real quick. Timing, how to get timing. We covered that a little bit last week. 2, getting your volumes straight between your rhythm and your lead. 3, making your rhythm simple and then letting your lead be more complex. And then 4, rhythm, just keeping a good rhythm, having a metronome in your head. So let me show you what I mean here. Get a little sip of water. All right, so if I, let me just make sure this thing's working good. Ready? Okay, good. Messed up already. If you hold down the undo on the right, you get those 3 little lines, and it shows you there that you've erased your loop. So I think I can turn off this camera. I'll leave it on. You can look at Star Wars. I don't have a way to get 3 things bigger. So quickly, I'm going to cover timing. I'm not going to demonstrate timing as much because I really did 5 minutes on that last week. But in last week's video, I said timing's the number 1 thing. Timing is king here in a loop. And the way you get it correct is you want to do, you want to start your beat on the 1 beat and stop it on the 1 beat. In other words, let's say we're playing... that would be the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So whether you're doing 4 bars or 8 bars, whatever that first thing you do hit, that's when you start it. And when it comes all the way around, that's when you stop it again. So I'll show that in a minute. I'm not going to do a full demo because we did that last week, and I don't want to bore anybody, including myself. But the second thing is volume. So one of the things I did early on when I was doing looping for the first time is I didn't realize that I need to lower my rhythm volume. So that's a big suggestion. If you play your rhythm volume at 1 level and you come in to do a lead and your volumes are exactly the same, you usually can't hear the rhythm, the lead guitar. I'll give you an example. We'll play Sleepwalk right there, just like that. And I'll start a loop. And then all right, so let me just give it a shot. Ready? I'm going to hit record, and then I'm going to hit play is what I'm going to do to stop. I'm not going to stop it, but I'm going to hit play to end the loop. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I messed up because I usually do it with my right foot. The thing's over on my left side, so let me get my right foot ready. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the timing is good. Now, without doing anything with my volume, without changing my pickups at all, I'm going to do a little solo. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, I hit stop right there. That actually didn't sound that bad. The other day, I did the exact same thing. I had my volume at 10 for both the lead and the rhythm, and the tone I was on, the pickup I was on. I was like, I can't even hear my lead right there. Let me give you a little bit better example here, and I'm going to crank up the volume a little bit, but I'm going to turn down my pickup. What I suggest you do is on the first rhythm thing, turn down your volume on your guitar to like 8, maybe 7 or 8. And that way, when you come to put your lead in there, you crank it up to 10. So I'll give you an example of that. Let me clear out this loop. One, two, three, four. Now, I don't know if I got the timing perfect there. I'm gonna crank up my volume to 10. Ready? All right. So right there, I didn't get the timing perfect, but you can tell that guitar was quite a bit hotter right there as I brought that in. Might even have been too hot. I think on the pickup I'm on, exactly like I said, it's not. It wasn't as big of a deal. But now I'm going to demo that again, but I'm going to do it using my next tip, which is simple and complex. It's sort of a two-part tip. I encourage you, when you're making your rhythm loops, make them simple from a guitar playing standpoint, but also from a tone standpoint. So you can tell right here what I got going. So you can tell I've got a guitar and reverb. Yes, there's a chorus on here, but it's so small, it's almost nothing. I turned off my tremolo and I turned off my big stereo delay. And I could even add a bigger reverb over here that I got on this keyboard. But right now it's really basic. It's just a beautiful clean tone. So my tone is real simple. If you put in a bunch of stereo delay kind of stuff like that and tremolo on the outset, like I'll give you an example, it can get really messy. And then when you go to do your lead, it just gets lost in the mix. So let's try it again. Ready? I turned on my tremolo and my stereo delay. So listen. All right, we'll give it a shot. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't know about you, but the lead is getting lost because it has stereo delay on it and a tremolo, and the rhythm did too. So I really suggest not doing that and doing what I said. Let me switch over there. So I'm taking off the tremolo and the stereo delay again, and that way I'm keeping that simple. Another thing I did was keeping it simple was making a nice rhythm and beat, and this sort of blends into another one, is having a constant rhythm and in your rhythm track, you have to play the bass like this. I could have just done that, but I did these little pops. The song might even be better without that. You know, typically the lower you are, then when you solo, you're usually up higher. But I didn't do this kind of stuff. You know, all sorts of strumming, all sorts of picking and syncopation and stuff like that. I did not do that, and it could get a little crazy. So I don't recommend that. I think keep it simple. And so I'm going to put it all together here. So I've got my volume at about 8, got a pretty simple tone. I'm going to get a nice little rhythm, nice little simple beat, and then I'm going to come back on and add in that tremolo, and maybe that stereo delay is ready. All right, let me go back over to my looper pedal. Ready? I'm going to clear out that tone, hit the undo button. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So good so far. I'm going to turn up my volume to about 10. Turned on my effects. Now I got my loop going there. It's still playing forever. So I think I got tremolo and stereo delay ready. All right, hadn't really practiced that. Didn't even expect to play Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny, 1959, I think. I hadn't planned on doing that, but really cool. And if I switch to a different pickup again, it'll even sound more distinct. Ready? Let me try it again. I go to that pickup. Ready? 2, 3, 4. All right, that's it. That's really cool. So in summary, get your timing down. Try to start it exactly on that boom. That's that one beat. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, dun, 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 boom, dun, dun. All right. Stop it at the same time. Keep your rhythm track simple. Turn your rhythm track down a little bit. When it comes to the lead, crank up your volume. Now, if you don't change your tones and have to do all this stuff where you're adding tremolo and stereo stuff back in, what's cool is you really don't miss a beat. You know, you can lay down a rhythm track, instantly pull up the volume, and instantly start soloing. I just took my time right there in between everything. So I hope that was helpful right there on that option. And then if we bring it up here, let me just show you for next week. On next week's Fender Friday, it'll either be live or taped, but I'm going to show you how I build a tone. I'm going to build a tone from scratch as we go. And I think I'm going to do like a viewer request, which is to build sort of a non-Fender tone, maybe something with a Vox kind of amp or a Marshall, maybe a British kind of feel and tone, and probably something rocking. I got a real clean tone right here, but we'll see. So let me see real quickly what else we got going on as well. If there's anything else. Again, if you haven't already, tell me where you're from. Leave any questions and comments, and tell me what kind of Fender stuff you got. Let me make sure. I'm going to go down back. By the way, hang on one sec. Got some reverb. Yeah. I got my Carry In. I'm going to play it out one more time with that Carry In by the Hollies. I got one question right there. Do I ever switch? That was Pat. Do I ever switch presets between rhythm and lead? And the answer is yes. That's a great example where a lot of times I'll put down a clean loop. I'll do a clean rhythm loop and quickly hop over to something driven, you know. You know, let me try that real quick actually. I cleared out my loop. Hang in there. So I'm on a humbucker here. I got to watch my volume. Hang on. I'll make sure I don't blare you. Ready? Okay, let's do that tone. Ready? I'll just solo on top of it. So this is going from my clean tone up to a rockin' tone, which I'll do my crunch tone, or maybe number 5, which is different. So number 1 is clean, number 4 and 5 or whatever, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. That was a quick little test right there. That showed you what I could do. I hadn't really figured out the right tone for that guitar at that moment, and I think my rhythm was actually a little bit quiet there. So you also want to make sure your lead doesn't overpower it, especially when you're switching tones, because that's when you can definitely get some volume changes right there. But that showed you the kind of stuff you can do. So that was a good question. I'm going to... Derek Paul, my friend Derek, who is from the UK, he's ready for that British tone. All right, so we'll do that next week. All right, I'm going to play it out here with a little bit more Hollies. Let me go back to my first tone, make sure I don't got too much stuff going on. Oh, I'm on song number 4, track number 4. I was wondering why it wasn't working. So again, to treat this like a stomp box, I'm going to go back to number 1, which is my clean dream tone. And I think I'm ready to go. All right, so let's play some Carry In. Thanks for joining me. I'm just going to rock out for a minute. And I will see you next time. Leave some questions and comments. And also, as a reminder, let me show you one more time if I can get off this dumb ad. Head on over to the Fender GTX 50, GTX 100 Micro Facebook page. A lot of good stuff. And my friend Pat, who's watching right now, is part of that group. An admin started it up, and it went from small to a really cool size right now, and it's growing fast. So enjoy that. All right, let me turn off that display. I'm gonna start my auto cam and see if I got my levels and all that. Let me try. All right, watch your ears. Let's try it out. Ready? Oh, what a bad note. All right. Got some practice to do. I think I'm going to try to really nail that and then put it up on my, try to really nail that and put it on my big on a channel just as like a straight up performance, and then I'll explain how I do it afterwards. Maybe that'll happen tomorrow or Sunday. So thanks for hanging out on Fender Friday Live. And you know, I haven't said it yet, but hit like even if you don't like it. If you've hung out this far, you probably like it. Or you fell asleep and you woke up and you're like, Steve's still blabbing on, you know, or, you know, maybe you're making dinner and you're like, gosh, when is this